Information Station 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Just a few months ago, I went to a political event for a candidate, and it was an outdoor event, and it was really, really hot. And for the children who were there with their parents, I think it must have been super, super boring for those kids. Anyway, there was a little girl, and she had a little purse or some kind of a little basket or something that she was carrying around. And I kept seeing her, walking around, really cute little girl. And then all of a sudden I saw her like panicking and looking in the weeds and looking in the garden. And so I said to her, "What are you looking for? Can I help you?" And she said, "Yeah, I lost all my jewels." And she had apparently some little, I'm sure they were just fake glass jewels, not real jewels. But
yeah,
remember, she lost all these little jewels that she was so proud of. And then, so I helped her and you helped her. We were looking for the jewels. And what happens when you know what you're looking for is you become so, I guess, focused on little shiny things. In this case, just looking, through the lawn and through the garden, and you become focused on that. Can you imagine if you had a condition where you could focus on things without even maybe wanting to? I think that's what this is about. Synesthesia is what it's called, at least in my notes. I'm going to be corrected anything I have wrong in just a second by our guest. Our guest is James R. Hannibal. He served in the United States Air Force as a stealth bomber pilot. Gosh, now there's somebody who has to be very focused on what they're doing. He's also a Predator mission commander. He was diagnosed with this thing called synesthesia. He's an award-winning author. I'm so fascinated by synesthesia. I hope he's okay with me being fascinated by it. But he's written a book. It's called The Lost Property Office, a mystery novel for young readers. The 13-year-old character, Jack Buckles, has synesthesia, so I'm assuming that James is basing some of this on his own experiences. Anyway, can you imagine being hyper-observant? Just being able to observe things with intensity. I like that.
Something.
So I'm probably got some of that wrong. James Hannibal, good morning, sir. What a fascinating story so far. How are you?
I'm doing great. I really appreciate it. And I think you nailed it, even though I've never heard it described quite as you did. I think you nailed a lot of the aspects of synesthesia.
Oh, did I? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from Houston, Texas.
So when you say hyper-observance, is it visual observance? Is it audible? Because some people can hear things really clearly.
So with synesthesia, it depends on who you are. There are many types of synesthesia. The most common form is called chromesthesia, where sounds have color.
Oh, wow.
And chromesthetes also tend to have color graphemia, they tend to be color graphemic, which means that the numbers have color and words and letters have color as well. Some concepts like days of the week or calendar months, and so this is something that's called an elicited response, and that kind of sounds like it means that they're pulling it up, but what that actually means is it's not. It's an involuntary elicited response, which means when this person is exposed to a bird tweeting, they see maybe yellow and white spikes in the corner of their vision that bird happens to be, or where the sound is coming from. If the sound's echoing off a wall, it could be coming from the other side. But those are the most common forms of synesthesia. I have those. I also have several others.
Really?
So light makes sound for me. Certain flashes of light, siren or rotating beacons, those kind of things. And so I have several of these forms of synesthesia. And over the course of your life, when you're a kid and nobody tells you have these things, you just feel like I don't deal with the world as well as my peers. Other people just are better at focusing than me.
Really?
And what I hope to do with this book is there are a lot of kids out there with synesthesia that don't know, and I hope maybe this opens some eyes, and so we.
Oh my gosh!
Avoid some misdiagnoses.
We're like kindergartners with this subject. I don't know anything about this, so let me make sure I understand you. Some people see light when they hear sounds, and some people hear sounds when they see light, and that's your.
That is a very good summary. Yes, correct.
So that's
and
you.
There's a lot of other forms like tastes and smells. All of the senses can cross over.
Wow.
It's just rare.
So let me ask you. I went to a concert with my son. I'm 61 years old, just so you know. Wow, what's so funny? I went to a concert with my son, and he's 30. And I'm 61, so a lot of times you think that generation gap is going to cause a problem. Mm-hmm. And I hadn't been to a concert since, years and years. Mm-hmm. Back when I was a kid, a laser light show was nothing like it is today. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so I said to him when we were done that even somebody who is deaf would have enjoyed this concert because the light show was so amazing. And somebody who was blind would have enjoyed the show, of course, because the music was amazing. So if you went to that show, would the light show interfere with you enjoying the music?
I don't do concerts well.
Oh, because of that? Because of that?
My whole life, before I understood that there was a reason I was different, I spent a lot of time making excuses for when I got invited to concerts, because especially a big rock concert that has a lot of flashing lights and all the sound that's booming into the auditorium or wherever you are can be overwhelming for me. I can handle it. I learned to deal over time, and I think that's what made me effective in the military, but it is not that I enjoy, because it's just overstimulus for me.
So does it have to be like a different kind of light, or if you're driving down the road and the light turns green, do you hear a sound? The traffic light?
That's correct.
You do?
Yes.
Is it the same sound all the time?
The different things have different sounds, but those sounds are consistent. For instance, the people that have, and I don't want to upset anybody, but you can change your text alert to a flashing light.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's great I think that's really designed for somebody who is deaf or doesn't hear well.
Okay.
I find that incredibly annoying because it makes a clackety-clack sound for me. It's very consistent.
Oh, that is wow. And so
I'm a pilot, so I see rotating beacons on the airport, and it's the red light on the bottom of the plane or the top of the plane, depending, that goes around in a circle. And in my brain, there's nothing I can do about it. It is always there. Wow, wow, wow.
Oh my. Oh my!
Wow!
So you learn to tune and focus on different things.
When you sleep and you dream, does it? This is probably a stupid question, but I'm just curious. In that world, that dream world, does it go away, or does it exist there too?
I do not believe it exists in the dream world.
That's
interesting. No, that's interesting.
I don't know what that means, but some crazy question I thought of. I don't know why.
Now, how about
I've never been asked that before, but to come to think of it, I do not think that I experienced that in the dream world.
How about with food? How about when you look at food? Is there a different kind of a reaction?
No, there are synesthetes who have that, but for me, it's the smell. Because I have, I think it's called smell, color smell, and then smell texture. So smells and tastes then have their own color and texture for me, and so strong smells, whether they're good or bad, can be a problem. And then bad smells are just ridiculous. I had been stationed in Kuwait a little bit on a deployment, and I experienced a couple of big sandstorms. And driving through a spot where somewhere where there's been recent roadkill, you drive down the road and you get that smell.
Yeah.
Yes.
For me, that texture experience is the same as walking through a sandstorm in Kuwait. And
wow.
Even though you're in your car, there's nothing you can do about it. So I feel it's this grainy feeling pressing against my skin. Other people listen to music and violins, particularly. I find violins very ticklish.
Really?
For me, that's the back of my neck. Other people, it's their tummy or their ankles.
Oh.
So it really depends on the synesthete.
Oh,
wow.
I am so fascinated by this.
God.
So, again, this is probably in the dumb category. I know you've written a book, and we need to talk about
Yes.
the book. But all right, so this is another probably dumb question. Does it ever actually serve you? I mean, it sounds like it's a problem, but has it ever been, oh, thank God I have this?
No. That is a fantastic question.
Okay.
And unfortunately, because of operational security, I can't go into specifics. But I can tell you that this that synesthesia has helped me catch bad guys, and I think I was beginning to have the genesis of the idea for this book, and deciding how to treat the character with sort of a new look at Sherlock Holmes, and I thought, well, I guess I could use what I have, but for instance, on the Predator, where you're working with a group of people in a box commanding a drone that is thousands of miles away, you're looking at screens, and that's all you have. You have either optical or infrared, something like that, but you're looking at a visual representation. Right. You're also talking on the radio, but you may be talking on the radio to somebody who is not anywhere near what you're looking at, right? And you're hunting for bad guys. For me, certain movements, quick movements, have sound, or certain shapes that pass through my vision have sound. And so I was known in the Predator as the guy who could find things, because you'd be panning across an area looking for people with weapons, and I might see the infrared shadow of what in my mind is a stick, and as the screen is passing across that area, I hear whomp in my brain, and I would tell the sensor operator, stop the camera, because I just heard a gun. And it might have been a broomstick, or it might have been a gun, but then we would go back and look.
Right.
And so I really believe that it has helped me there quite a bit, and some other areas, especially the color graphemia, or color graphemic synesthesia, that allows me to see numbers and letters as colors. It helps me with memory stuff.
Wow, I've never heard anybody talk about this before. James R. Hannibal is on the phone. We will take a break, and I promise on the other side of the break, we're going to talk about the book. I in my mind, I'm remembering now the conversation I had with your publicist. It was about synesthesia, and it was about your book, and I said, oh my gosh, this can't, because usually with novels, it's a 10-minute interview. And I said, no, we got to talk longer about this.
Yes.
So I feel better now knowing that I actually gave this some thought. All right, so...
Good job.
All right, James, thank you. Don't go away, but we'll be right back to talk about the book. What a fascinating topic. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, intervals of clouds and sunshine. A warm but humid day, high 82 to 86. Partly cloudy Friday night. There may be a shower in spots along the coast. The low 61 inland, 68 at the coast. For Saturday, times of sun and clouds, breezy and not as warm. There can be a passing shower, high 77 to 81. Sunday, partly sunny and breezy. A shower in spots along the coast, the high 78 to 82. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
There are only a few things in life that you can be certain will always be around: death, taxes, the pursuit of happiness, and computers. As they continue to advance at an epic pace, the one absolute certainty about them is that they'll break. It's not an if, it's a when. And when it happens, bring it to the only company in Ocala that's certified in Apple and Microsoft, Ocala Mac and PC Repair. They even offer on-site computer repair service, so they come to you. And if you do drop it off, you can check your repair status online. Ocala Mac and PC Repair is a family-owned and operated company that can do everything from mobile repair to wireless networks, fixing viruses, data recovery, even building and installing new systems. Visit online at ocalamacpc.com. In person, 1713 East Silver Springs Boulevard, or give them a call, 352-566-8324. That's 352-566-8324. Ocala Mac and PC Repair.
Experience Christmas at Gaylord Palms, presented by Fujifilm Instax, November 18th through January 1st. Enjoy spectacular holiday decor, dining, and entertainment, including ice, with an all-new theme featuring a Charlie Brown Christmas, Cirque Dreams Unwrapped stage show, breakfast with Charlie Brown and friends, Alpine Rush snow tubing, and much more. It's everything Christmas in one extraordinary place. Tickets and overnight packages, including priority extra cool hour admission to ice, are on sale now at christmas@gaylordpalms.com.
Christmas time is here, and this holiday season, Gaylord Palms puts a brand new twist on a Christmas classic. It's Ice, presented by Pepsi, featuring a Charlie Brown Christmas by Charles Schulz, November 18th through January 1st. See the whole Peanuts gang carved in over 2 million pounds of colorful ice, including Snoopy's decorated doghouse, and dancing at the holiday play rehearsal. Your awe-inspiring experience concludes with the wonder of the nativity in ice. For tickets and packages, visit christmas@gaylordpalms.com.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Beethoven was extremely particular about his coffee. He insisted each cup be made with exactly 60 beans. There's a new smart pepper spray. It's called the Defender, and it not only shoots a disabling spray at an attacker, it takes a picture of them in the process. So moms-to-be and friends of moms-to-be, if you want your cheese fix, experts say stick with pasteurized cheese only.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
I can't believe career politician Rod Smith is running for office again.
That's what career politicians do.
Yeah, that and raise taxes.
Remember when Smith sponsored the largest tax increase in Florida history?
Do I?
Smith tried to raise taxes on haircuts, babysitting, laundry.
And adding insult to injury, even tax preparation services.
So Smith would have taxed us for paying our taxes?
Incredible, right?
Can he really run again? Smith already pockets a $51,000 politician's pension.
And that's on top of his $500,000 a year salary as a trial lawyer.
Smith wants an even bigger payoff?
Right. And to get it, Smith would tax us for everything, including paying our taxes.
With career politician Rod Smith, it's more taxes for us.
And a bigger payoff for him.
Learn more at KeithPerry.com. Political advertisement paid for and approved by Keith Perry, Republican for State Senate, District 8.
All right, 8 minutes before 10 o'clock. The only problem with the political season and the holiday season coming together is there's too many ads, and I'm going to get back to our interview. Yes. Yeah. James Hannibal is really a fascinating guy. He's on the phone, and he's been teaching us about synesthesia. He has synesthesia. He can hear sounds when he sees lights, and vice versa. Am I remembering that right? Mm-hmm. And he's written a book called The Lost Property Office. James, thank you for waiting. I wanted to ask you something. The notes for this, because we didn't get the book, the notes say that this is an adventure through history, in addition to other descriptions. Are you a historian? Are you interested in history?
My degree from the Air Force Academy is in history.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's actually, it was Middle Eastern studies, but the history was the focus. So, yeah, I do love history quite a bit. And this is all about the Great Fire of London, which has its mysteries of its own.
Okay, so I want to get to that, but one quick question before we get to the book. In looking through history, have you ever looked at a person that we know through history and said, oh my gosh, I bet you that person had synesthesia?
I have not. I have met people when I see their reactions to certain things, I take them aside and go, do you know about this? Is there? And on 2 occasions I've been correct, and it's world changing when you're a synesthete and somebody shows you what this is because it's so poorly known out there.
Could I put on something synthetic to help me experience that? Like, could I put on some goggles and headphones and maybe experience what you experience, like artificially?
There is a set of goggles out there that I saw that is for a very specific and extremely rare kind of synesthesia where colors invoke smells. And so when you put on this apparatus that's looks like a mask and goggles, when your vision passes over certain colors, it will invoke certain smells in your the mask will release certain smells. That's the only one that I've seen that does that. But that's very, very rare. That's like a 1 in a million synesthete right there.
All right. The book, The Lost Property Office, is what you're really here for. This is a story about a 13-year-old boy named Jack Buckles. Tell me who Jack is.
Okay, so Jack is an American kid. He goes to London thinking his family's really looking for a lost body that is his father's. And he is quickly drawn into a secret world in England when he discovers that, 1, his father may not be dead, and 2, he is the 13th in a long line of detectives that's actually British, that belongs to this secret society that serves the British Crown. And so he unlocks this whole world of secret societies, Ministry of Trackers, the Ministry of Dragons, Ministry of Secrets, and begins to explore that and begins to learn to use, we don't call it synesthesia in the book, we call it he's a tracker. And his little friend Gwen teaches him how to use it, and it really is world-changing for him. Taking this thing that was causing him to shut the world out and withdraw, and teaching him to use it, and so that he can turn it around and really engage and make it something that makes him excel.
Oh, wow. And was that you when you were that age? I mean, I hate to keep going back to that, but was it a revelation for you in the same way at that age, or approximately that age?
No, I wish it was, and that's one of the points of this book, because you can really synesthetes can really capitalize on this neurological phenomenon. When I started writing the book, if you Googled it, Wikipedia would be the first thing that came up, and it would list it as a neurological disorder, which was incorrect. And if you're a pilot or a military pilot, you don't want to go back to your commander and go, "Hey, guess what? It turns out I have a neurological disorder," right? And so I discovered it in my 30s and didn't talk to anyone about it. And even a couple of years ago when I started writing Lost Property Office, it was still listed as neurological disorder. And it wasn't until recently, and just after I had turned in the manuscript, that it was that was put on there as it was shown that is incorrect. There was a lot of misinformation about it. It was never a neurological disorder. It was never officially classified as a neurological disorder. That was just bad information you find on the internet.
Oh, okay,
and so now the correct term is neurological phenomenon. Anyway, but as a child, I didn't know. Nobody knows about synesthesia. There's nobody there to tell you. And when we were kids, it was you just deal, right? Today, however, a kid who is withdrawing like this, for me, I withdrew into books. For Jack, he withdraws into his smartphone because that's what a kid today would do.
Right.
But today, you see a kid withdrawing like that or having trouble focusing, and your mind immediately goes, "Oh, it's ADHD," or "He's on the autistic spectrum," something like that. And in fact, Library Journal, well-meaning as they are, failed to read the back cover because we don't mention synesthesia in the book, and misdiagnosed Jack Buckles as on the autistic spectrum.
Oh my goodness!
That proves our point. You can imagine all these educators out there. It would be great for them to understand and know about synesthesia, so that they can. Because a kid who has synesthesia, especially with the memory stuff with color graphemic synesthesia, can once he or she understands what it is, they can use it to their advantage rather than letting it be something that is incapacitating.
You have the character called the clockmaker who tries to put up barriers for Jack.
Absolutely. The Clockmaker is based on Robert Hubert. The real history of the Great Fire of London, which was 350 years ago in September, is shaded with mystery. Let's put it that way. Back in 1666, history was what the king said it was, and so the real story behind the Great Fire may be lost because what we have is the royal narrative that followed. It was very important for King Charles to say this started in a bakery, nobody's at fault, only 6 people died, because this is the first king after the restoration of the monarchy. So he's in a very delicate position. But the truth is that perhaps thousands of people died, and it probably didn't start in Farriner's Bakery. It was more likely arson. But who are the culprits? We don't know. And in the real fire, we had a clockmaker named Robert Hubert who confessed, but his confession was thrown out, even though he identified certain things that nobody else could have known other than the arsonist.
Wow.
And so we bring that forward, but of course, this is fiction and fun, and so we had to add in some supernatural stuff as well. And so Jack's mission is to find the ember that the clockmaker used to start the fire, and save and stop the new clockmaker from recreating the Great Fire of London and killing millions of people.
Wow.
James, what an honor to have you on our show. I have a feeling you'll be on the big shows. Just give it a day or two.
In the movie.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
sure.
This is really good stuff. The Lost Property Office is the book. James R. Hannibal is the author, and we've got 20 seconds. Do you have a website you can direct us to so we can get the book?
Yes, please go to thelostpropertyoffice.com, and if you pre-order, we'll send you free stuff. You just have to send us an email, and it's all there on thelostpropertyoffice.com.
Thelostpropertyoffice.com. James, thank you so much for being on the air with us. Fascinating story.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time.
You're welcome. We'll be right back. This is WOCA Ocala.
Of course.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Stocks lower on Wall Street after the latest jobs numbers out. It's the last report we'll see before Americans go to the polls. 161,000 jobs created in October, slightly below what economists were expecting.
142,000 of those were private sector, so 19,000 were government, about split between the federal government and state and local government. So private sector job creation was not as strong as expected. Also, this labor force participation rate did tick back down in October to 62.8% because the labor force